Welcome back, friends, to Max Q Barbecue. My name is Craig, and today we have a fire management series video for you with the cook for a 16-pound Sam's Club Prime Choice brisket. So this will be a little bit longer fire management video than our last one we did on barbecue chicken. Another thing about today's fire management video that's going to be different is that our temperatures are 63 degrees, clear skies, calm winds, so the weather will be a little less inclement and maybe a little different factors in managing the fire. For today's cook, we're going to be using Oklahoma Joe's hickory firewood splits. Hickory is one of my favorite smoked flavors for our barbecue and smoked meat cooks. And today I'm going for that really strong hickory flavor in our Sam's Club brisket. So step back and enjoy as we get ready to prepare our pit for today's cook. Well, friends, the first thing that we need to do to get our pit ready for today's cook is clean out the ash from the previous cook. To do that, we have a little metal trash can here, and we always like to use metal just in case we've got any hot embers that are going in the fire. Today the embers are really cold because it's been a week since they were used, so everything's nice and cool, but we still use the same can for collecting our ash. We slide our ash can just under the open door here on the pit, and I have this little garden shovel, spade. It's smaller than a regular full-size shovel, but it's just perfect for working with the fire and for removing the ash out of our pit. Just slide that in and just scrape out that ash into our bucket. Quick and easy, no real problems here. If you watched my previous videos, you know my favorite way to get the fire started on the Workhorse 1957 is to use some packing paper. Just happened to get a few things in from Amazon this week and got some nice packing paper. Ball that up. Use the chimney here. Use our torch to get it started, to light the paper. We're going to give that about 15 minutes, and when we come back you'll see that that fire, the charcoal chimney, is fully burning and ready to go, and then we'll start adding our hickory splits to it and warm up the rest of the pit. Folks, we're out here by our pit, and you can see our chimney is burning along quite well, and notice it's about 10 minutes to 12 on our clock back here, which we're going to be using to manage the time on our cook today. Got the grill about ready to close it up, and going to go ahead and put the lids down, get some splits on there so we can get it working. Let me show you a little bit about what's going on in the firebox. We just dropped our coals from our chimney, and you can see some of our lump charcoal is some pretty good pieces. And like I always like to do, I like to kind of split the coal bed a little bit so that I have a little gap down the middle, and this allows some air to flow so that when I put my splits on there that they'll ignite really quickly. So we're going to go over to our firebox, grab a couple of our hickory splits, and we'll start by putting one of our hickory splits right there. Put it right into that area of the fire. We're going to grab another one, with a bucket, and do the same thing on the other side. And since this is going to be our first heat up, we'll go ahead and put a third split on there so that I can start getting the pit up to temperature. So I'm going to put this split right there. We're going to go ahead and close the lid down. We're going to go ahead and close the firebox. Notice the butterflies are wide open. Notice we got a good bit of smoke coming out through the pit. We're going to open up our damper and close this down, and now we're ready to go. Well, folks, just want to show you how we got the pit set up. Got our coal bed laid out, got it separated down the middle, got 3 splits on there getting heated up, getting ready to ignite. And these are the Oklahoma Joe's hickory. Notice they've been on there about 30 seconds and they're already firing up. Pit's only been closed up for about 10, 30, or well, maybe a minute now, and it's already coming up to temperature. Hardly 2 minutes have passed, and notice how quickly that temperature is rising on this pit. You can actually see the temperature going up as I'm talking. So pit heats up pretty fast. Once you got those lump charcoal burning and a couple of splits on there, it doesn't take long for it to really heat up. And if you look over here at our clock, you'll see it's 11:58. Well, about 10 minutes have passed. Our clock shows 12 p.m. and we're going to open up the door here and take a look and let you see how those 3 splits are doing. And you'll notice that they're caught on fire and they're burning quite nicely. We have about 275 on our thermometers, 300 on our upper thermometer. So right where we want to be for a fairly quick cook today. We should probably have to come back in about 10 minutes and check it again just to make sure, but we'll want to keep that fire burning pretty good today to keep that temperature up so we'll get a good fast cook on this brisket. See you back in about 15 minutes. Okay folks, it's now 12:33 p.m. We're going to check on our fire. Temperature inside the pit's 251 degrees. Okay, as we open it up, we'll notice that our splits on either side are pretty much broken down into coals. And then our top log here has still got a little bit of burn to it. So we're going to grab our shovel and adjust our fire here a little bit. So one of the first things we're going to do is we're going to take and break down those splits. Get a good coal bed here going. Piece there, let's bring that up to where it's get a little more air. Keep our fires close to the front of the fire box as we can. Build a little air channel here on either side. Put our shovel aside there. I'm gonna grab 2 more splits to put on it. And these are our Oklahoma Joe's hickory. Alrighty, let's see how long that'll hold us. Hopefully we'll get about 30 minutes out of this, and that the pit will continue to hold at 250 to 300 degrees. This graph shows the first hour of cook time from our temperature recording. Note that the temperature fell until we added the wood splits at around 12:35, and you see the spike in temperature, but then notice that it dropped again around 12:39 when we opened the fire chamber or the cooking chamber to spritz the brisket. Welcome back, friends. It's 1:12 p.m. now, and it's been just a little over 30 minutes since we last put some wood on the fire. So we're going to come out here, and I noticed on the thermometer that the temperature was decreasing. It's been hovering around 325, or got up to about 325 when we put wood on the fire, and now it's kind of dropping down. So what we have to do is time to feed the fire. So I'm going to do a couple of things as I feed the fire. I'm going to take a couple little pieces of our fat that we cut off there, just some small strips there. I like to use a little of that to give it a little extra flavor. And we're going to put a couple of splits on here, and that'll help get those splits started faster. And also just give us a little bit more of that barbecue dripping flavor going on. And you'll see that fat lights up pretty quickly. I don't know how many people do that, but I've heard that a lot of the barbecue places in Texas use a little bit of their brisket fat in their fire just to help give it that extra barbecue flavor of that drippings, of that fat drippings getting burned on the coals feeding the fire. So we'll go ahead and close that up. You'll notice I got the butterfly set about halfway just to kind of control the fire a little bit so it doesn't just go up too high. And I also closed down the upper stack, and I've got it set at about 1/3 closed. Again, just trying to cut down some of the airflow, keep it from getting too hot too fast, make that fire last a little bit longer. Alrighty, we'll check back in on the next time we feed the fire. Welcome back, friends. It is now 1:44, 1:45 coming up. It's been a little over 35 minutes. Our pit temperature is down to 260 degrees. Time to take a look at the fire here. As we can see, we've still got some split burning there, so we're going to grab our little bit of shovel, break down those splits a little bit. That one's still pretty solid there on the end. Got our little groove down the middle. Break our coals up a little bit to the side. Go ahead and drop a couple of pieces of brisket fat on there. Might as well use it for something good. It's over here behind me. Pull out a couple more splits. And drop those on the fire. See, I've still got the butterfly set about 50%. I'll show you some graphs here later on over the last 30 minutes and show you how the temperature of the fire started out about 325 and just slowly declined. And then about 3 or 4 minutes ago, it started taking a sharper turn, declining faster. And that's my cue to get out here and put more wood on the fire. Alrighty, it'll be almost on the pit. In the next 15 minutes, it'll be on the pit for 2 hours. It'll be about time to open the cook chamber. Take a look at that brisket. This is our temperature graph from the second hour of cook. Note how evenly the temperature held and then gradually tapered off at around 1:39 p.m. Note how steady the fire holds when you don't open the pit or change the fire door settings. It's now 2:30 on our clock there, which means it's been about 45 minutes since we fed the fire. So let's take a look at how we're doing here. Looking good. We're going to go ahead and break these two splits down into the coals. I'm going to adjust them and do like we did the last time. Continue with our technique of having some central canal there for the air to flow between, and then we're going to add our splits to either side there. These are directly out of the Oklahoma Joe bag. Usually I break them down in half, but I wanted to see what would happen if I put the bigger split in there. So see if that would give us more time, or if it's just going to mean we're going to have to fight the heat. But we're going to try it out and see what happens. Get that over on that side there. It's a little thicker than what I normally put in there. But hey, cook's going great right now. Temperatures have been holding real well. And we'll try to control some of that extra heat maybe with our butterfly here. I'm going to move it to just a little more than half. So I'll put some graphs up here in the video later, show you a little bit about how the temperatures have been working between these changes in feeding the fire, so you get a little idea how it fluctuates over time from when you first put a log on to the time where you are ready to feed it again. See you back in about a half an hour. Well, friends, it's been 40 minutes since we put those bigger splits on here. Just had a high temperature alarm go off. So looks like those splits finally, after 40 minutes, have really started taking off and they're burning. So I am going to close down the air now. Looks like they're burning pretty good. And see if I can bring that temperature back down a little bit. But we definitely get a lot longer time out of the
out of the bigger splits. But I was really surprised that after 40 minutes of being really steady, that all of a sudden it gets to a point that it accelerates in the burning. So I'll keep you posted, and we'll keep you post a little bit of a graph to let you see what's going on.
This is the temperature graph from the large diameter split experiment. Note that during the first 40 minutes, the fire was very stable and the temperature was very stable. After 40 minutes, the internal core of the split ignited and accelerated the burning and resulted in a temperature spike that we had to deal with by shutting down the dampers and slowing the burn rate.
Friends, it's been about another 15 minutes since we last checked in on the fire. I closed the dampers down quite a bit to drop that heat. So I'm going to go ahead and open them up a little bit, see if I can get a little more airflow, because the temperature is stabilized at around 250. But you can see our splits that we have in there are pretty much starting to break down. There's our low temperature alarm going off. So I'm going to go ahead and break these down and reach over here and refuel. So don't mind that alarm, it's still plenty good enough for cooking. Now that is one big chunk. I will move it over here, big side against the wall there. And see if I can find a little bit smaller one there, so we don't get too much heat going. Okay, we'll put this one here, and you can see that fire's hot. Coals are really hot there. We got a good, great coal bed here. Good steady cooking temperature. Now a little piece fell off there. Throw that in there. So we'll close this up. Set that about 50%. You can see when we closed it up, that air starts accelerating going through that small opening. So creates a little bit of a Venturi effect, and actually makes the fire burn a little faster. So we'll keep our eyes on it, and I'm gonna go reset the alarm, and we'll watch that temperature and see if it goes up like we want it to. Well, it's already gone off, so it's already gone above 245, so we're headed back up. We'll probably run up to about 300, maybe 320, and then it'll stabilize, and it'll hold about at that steady temperature for about 20-30 minutes, and then it'll start fluctuating depending upon the wind and how much fuel it's got. But we're going to leave the damper shut to 50%. We're about 25 or 30% on the stack, so we're trying to slow that airflow down, and by slowing the airflow down, we're slowing the combustion down. So we'll keep an eye on it and see how it does. It's about 4:20 p.m. and it's about 40 minutes since we last tended the fire, and we're starting to see a little drop in the temperature. We got plenty of wood going, so I think what we're going to go do is we're going to go ahead and open up the vents a little bit, and I may roll this split over a little bit, get a little more surface area that's heated up and burned to expose, so we can get that temperature up. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and drop a couple more pieces of our beef tallow on there, just to give it a little more oompa, since it's taking a little longer for these splits to really burn. So you can see these thicker splits last significantly longer. These are probably 3 inches in diameter. So compared to the 1.5 to 2 inch pieces that I normally use. Usually I'll split these in half, but I wanted to try them without splitting them. And sure enough, they do give you a longer burn, but you have to work your butterflies and your airflow to manage your temperature. Let me get this door closed, because I can guarantee you that temperature is shooting way up real quick now that I've got those surfaces exposed. and it's burning pretty quickly. So we'll check back in about a half hour. Folks, as you can see by the clock over here on the right, it's a little after 5 p.m. We're 5 hours into our cook today. Temperature is kind of falling a little bit. So looks like we got plenty of wood left here. Plenty of wood. Looks like the stick here on the right hand side has fizzled out a little bit. So I'm gonna replace the one on the left hand side, that is. We'll replace that split. And this big split, you notice it really hasn't, this split over here is still not burning very well. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna throw a little more beef tallow over here by it and see if I can maybe get it to burning a little bit better. I'm gonna get some of these thin strips that I cut off the brisket earlier today, just to let that kind of light it up a little bit. Didn't like the way that one fell. But once that tallow gets to melting, it'll start lighting up pretty fast, and maybe it'll get that piece of wood to burn in. Alrighty, temperature is going to hold pretty well. Brisket's almost up to 198, so it's cooking very nicely, and we're right on schedule. Should be ready around, or up to temperature around 6, and we'll pull it off and let it rest, and be able to start slicing it probably about 6:30 or 7. Well, it's almost 6 o'clock, and our temperature is falling. It's been a while since I put a log on it. Looks like we didn't get much burn out of this one log here, so I'm gonna break it down a little bit and put some more wood on it. Get our fire to burning a little bit more. Put a couple of these smaller pieces in here to catch on a little faster. Drop a little more of our tallow, beef tallow. See if we get this fire producing a little bit better. Taking our coal beds, these bigger splits are not burning down into the coals quite as fast, and not leaving us with a good coal bed like the smaller splits do. But we'll go ahead and put some of the smaller splits on there. Get this thing kind of motivated a little bit this evening, so we can get this cooked wrapped up. Just throwing a little bit of some smaller pieces in there to help get it started. A little more beef tallow on there. Alrighty. Well, we'll keep an eye on it, and we're close. We just got to get it up to temp again and get this thing wrapped up. Well, friends, we just took the brisket off the pit, hauled that inside, so we're done today with the fire. For the most part, the fire ran really good. This is what we have left, is some coals. Had one little snafu using those larger splits that I didn't break down into. Usually I split these into 2. I put one on around 4 o'clock and checked it, and it was still burning at 5, but not burning real quick. Well, went inside, wasn't paying attention to the temperatures, and that split just essentially stopped burning. So at 6 o'clock, my temperatures were falling pretty bad. So I had to come out here with the shovel and break it down and get it going again, throw a little bit of kindling on there, put a couple of little of the splits where I split them in half. So my thoughts on the larger splits is you can get some longer burn time out of them, but you may run into some problem with them
burning out on you. They're just so big, they don't burn all the way through. It's longer time before they get the coals bed going. So what happens is, since they don't burn down and break down as fast, the coal bed depletes and the fire gets cold. So I'm going to go back to using my little splitter and splitting these into more 2x2s instead of 3x4s. But you know, Oklahoma Joe does a nice job. There's some nice hickory, gets you some great flavor. So thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you next time.